channel, and in this video we are going to be answering a request by one of my subscribers, and it's Vision 2020, and the question is my story of how I came to know Christ and have Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. Well, that was an amazing moment, because that is when my life completely changed for the better. And the reason I say that is because I've had my fallen away moments as a Christian, and I was raised, as in church. I knew the truth, but I got led astray, and I actually proclaimed to be an atheist in high school, which is totally crazy, because that's not who I am at all. I'm a child of God, of course. So, but I can honestly tell you, God had His hand on me in all of those times of my life, and I've been protected by Him. And I can honestly say that if it was not for Him, I would be dead right now, because there's no telling where I would be if it wasn't for, finding Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. But I have recollections of being a child and my grandmother taking me to church and just sitting there drawing in church. And, it wasn't really a big deal. I didn't have any God moments then. But when I really, my first memory of really coming to know the Lord, there was this bus that my grandmother took me to the Vacation Bible School. And this was, I guess, when I accepted Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. This group of kids came. They were high school kids, and I was probably about 8 years old. And so I saw this bus of teenagers. They came to our Vacation Bible School, and they were just on fire for the Lord. I mean, this group of kids, they were just beaming, and they had the Spirit of God on them, and they just were glowing. And I was just like, and I'll never forget that, because I was like, I want to be like them. I was like, that was when I knew, that I wanted to be like that. That was who I was, and that was who I wanted to be like. So it was in that moment that I started reading my Bible, studying my Bible. My parents got me a picture Bible. And I looked at that all the time, my picture Bible, growing up. It was one of those Bibles that was like a comic book, and I read that thing from cover to cover. It's the Bible. But I memorized all the books of the Bible, and I wanted that closeness to God. I saw those kids on fire for the Lord, and I wanted that. But I really didn't get to that point until after going through a lot of heartache and a lot of pain and a lot of disappointments. And my parents divorced soon after that. And then I was just on this really rough, rocky road of a lot of sin in my life, and it wasn't by choice. So it was really hard for me to come away from that. In high school, I rebelled and became an atheist, got caught up in the Grateful Dead, but I still had this yearning for God, because I remember I got into runology and I got into horoscopes, and I got into, all kinds of different types of modalities of connections of, with God. But it wasn't like the real deal, which is Christ. And wow, I just realized my blower has been blowing on my phone. I hope it didn't screw up this video. Oh, I may have to do it over. But I want to say that after all of that, I had this really big God moment where I ran my car into a telephone pole. And I'm not going to say what I was doing when I was driving, but it wasn't a good situation. And I wrecked my car, and I wrecked my face. I had this scar that went from here all the way back. They had to shave my hair. I looked like the Bride of Frankenstein. Well, that was my aha moment of like, okay, I got to get straight here. I got to get right. But I didn't. My mom took me to some church. It wasn't a big deal. I didn't really have any, moments until I was just lost. I went to college, still lost. And then I finally got pregnant. I got pregnant with a child out of wedlock, my first child. And the guy wanted me to he wanted me to kill the baby, abort the baby, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. That just really went against my who I was. Like, I knew that I didn't want to kill my own child. That was not what I wanted to do. I mean, that was just like, that was so stupid to me. I was like, dude, no. And so I went around and around with this guy for a long time and had a lot of heartache and trouble out of him. And then I started going to this church, Christ Fellowship. And there was this pastor there who was a non-denominational pastor who was Pentecostal. So he came from a really serious background where they laid hands on, all this stuff. Like, he was really full of the Spirit. And he really witnessed to me through his sermons. And then I accepted Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. And I just, it was just like, I knew that was where I needed to be. And it was so easy for me to get my life straight after that. I was able to get all away from all the bad friends and all of the stuff that was just bringing me down and, wrecking my life. And so then I was able to got going in the right direction and so forth. And then I met my husband, and he had had the same experience. And so we just knew that we were meant for each other, because he had experienced the same thing. He turned away from God, then he had just come to God, and he knew that was where he was supposed to be. So we were just like two little peas in a pod, two new born again Christians. I got baptized before I met him, which was really awesome. I was 20 some years old. At that church I got baptized, and I just knew, that was what I wanted to do. And so I've been on that road ever since, and I brought all my other two children up in the Lord, and my firstborn son. You know, my kids have been so blessed because of my relationship with Christ. And you know, I wouldn't trade it for the world what my kids have gained. I was one of those moms that was at church every time the doors were open. Sorry about that. I led the children's church program. We started a program up there where we made this church and did all this really cool stuff, and it was amazing. I mean, really, I've done a lot for God, and my daughter, like, she is golden because of me having my involvement in church with Christ. And you know, I'm so thankful. God has blessed my life, and to this day, you know, I get lost. I mean, I'm not perfect. I screw up. This world is very deceiving, and it can really get you going in the wrong direction really, really fast. There's no doubt about it. And you know, but God is always there, and He's always so good, and He always lifts me up out of the clay, and puts me on new ground. I mean, His word is my rock, and He is my rock. He always, you know, is there and gets me in the right place of where I need to be, and He protects me. Like, I feel like God protects me from my enemies. Like, He's just amazing, you know. And so I'm so thankful. And so yeah, that's my God story. And thanks for asking me about it, and so I could share it with my YouTube channel. And you know, I'm really thankful. And you know, I get up every morning and I really try to put God first. And when I don't put God first, that's when I know it. Things start to get out of balance. There's no doubt about it, you know. And so I'm committed to God through the church. Now, church can let you down. Church is not God. You know, I just want to be clear on that. Your relationship with God is through you, and you talking to God on a daily basis, and He's always there for you. You just have to, you know, you can talk to Him anytime. And His word is really, you know, how we can get closer to Him. We can know His heart through His word. But like, I listen to all Christian music. That's all I listen to on my radio station. I really don't like to listen to secular music. I went to a secular music concert with my husband and my 2 kids just last night, and I haven't done that in years. But you know, I'm not going to hell or anything like that. I mean, and that's not why I don't. The reason I don't listen to secular music is because I just like to really be thinking about God, and I feel like music is super powerful. And you know, and where our heart is, that is where, you know, we are. And if I'm really like, I love music. Music is like, I sing all the time in my head. I'm always thinking of songs, like when I'm working, when I'm doing stuff. So it's very powerful for me, and that's why I want to keep my eyes on God. So, you know, I try to get bracelets that have Bible verses on them. I try to, you know, I have pictures of Bible verses on my house, like my towels say faith, hope, and love, you know, which is like the fruits of the Spirit. And I always just try to, I bought a picture the other day that had the fruits of the Spirit on it and that Bible verse. I mean, God says, that we should be having His word on our heads, on our arms, over our doorways. And so guys, that's it for the video. And give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe, like, share. I hope you enjoyed the video. And sorry for the sunlight that is like crazy right now. And I hope you could hear all of it. And I hope you enjoyed it. And what's your God story? What is your God story? How, and guys, I don't hold it against anyone that is a different religion. I respect everyone's religion of their faith and where their parents brought them up and what they grew up in. I mean, it is what it is. We all come from different places in the world, and we have to respect our roots and our heritage. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you'll share your God story with me down below. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.